All of you, very good morning. So I think this seems to be a good time to start because at least I can see all 216 participants. Okay, let me ask you. Um, has anyone or other everyone revised what we did? Two endpoints we had finished, get and post. So have you done it? Have you done the revision of it? The full stack application I'm talking about with React frontend and our Spring Boot as a backend. So today, of course, I'll be taking you ahead and we'll be completing the CRUD. So I'll just tell you today's plan. Now, remaining 2-3 days, I want you to code along as much as possible because if the topics are remaining or if I feel that I need some more time with you, I'll be taking the lab session also for not for theoretical topics, but definitely hands-on. So it will be a balance of both. I mean, in the afternoon, it will be again a hybrid kind of a session if required. So let me tell you what all we are going to do today. So first we will start, of course, with a revision as always. Then we are going to complete the two endpoints, that is deleting employee record and updating. And first, as always, we'll test it with Postman and then with React. Then I'll show you the concept of something called as a very important concept, response entity, where you'll be replacing the actual resource, such as what? Employee by response entity. We'll talk about it. I have just talked about there is something called as a Lombok library, which will reduce the boilerplate code in mainly in Pojos. So I'll help you to install. It's just a minute's time. And so after we do this, you remember what do you say? We are developing two different type of applications. One is Spring MVC web application, which does not have a does not have a separate front end and a back end. Everything is done in a monolithic application using JSP based view layer. So basically what I mean is JSP based view layer. But there are a couple of things I want to show you. I want to, of course, give you the other day, I just started you on Spring Data JPA. So we will migrate. I'll ask you to copy and all those things. I'm just telling you what we are going to plan, what I'm planning to do. So we'll migrate from JPA to Spring Data JPA. And once you migrate it in a complete project, you will get lot of inputs. And one thing which I had not shown you, like again, the form binding. So I have got some ready-made pages, the JSP pages basically. So we will continue in the admin part and I'll show you form binding technique. This I want to, again, to make you project ready, I want to give you more practice in Spring Data JPA. So some of the things we will solve here in the theory session parallel, and some of them I will, I'll keep it for your lab exercise. I want to show you the internals of how the transaction is, beginning, where it is ending, etc. And then we will continue after this in completely full stack. Full stack means here, understand me. If I start solving each and everything connecting with React, we'll spend twice the time. So of course, like I said, our one full demo, CRUD demo I'm showing you in a full stack. And then hereafter, 0.5 onwards, we will completely dedicate to develop the backend. So I'll show you the validation annotations or rather validation. This is a server-side validation. You must be already knowing. Even if you have client-side validation, anyone can just disable it. It's a JavaScript validation, can just disable the JavaScript or disable or ignore the client-side validation. So it is very essential in your projects to add the server-side validation. And then I'll talk about something called as global exception handling. We don't want to write the try-catch blocks in every controllers, every method. So is there any way to globalize this so that only one class can handle all possible exceptions? Of course, the answer is yes. So that is what we'll discuss. And then time permitting, I'll take you to microservices kind of architecture. Is it a full-fledged microservices I'm training you for? Of course not. Microservices, if you want to learn, again, 3 to 4 days, separate, 5 days actually. Actually, we take it as a 5-day course, training course. So when I say microservices, one REST API calling the other REST API. So you'll know it. And there is a concept called as REST template. So whenever I reach here, we will talk about that. And this is like, I think, more than sufficient for a day. And I'm not even sure whether we'll complete all of it. Okay. So before, okay, what I'll do is this way. I will first give you hopefully a quick revision regarding full stack application. And after finishing revision, then I'll ask you if there are any specific queries, specific questions. So keep your questions ready by then. But if they get solved during the revision, then it is well and good. Okay, so let me start the diagram. So there are so many diagrams. So I've written it down, RESTful web services layers. Okay, so what we are talking about is the front end. Currently, I'm saying it is a React front end. For later purposes, I'll be replacing it by Postman. But at least one demo you need to see back to end to end. So when you talk about React as a JavaScript library, what does it consist of? It is a component-based architecture, everyone knows. And in components, you are injecting the services. That employee service, for example. In employee service, we were injecting the Axios instance. There are two frameworks, two libraries. One is Axios library, one is a fetch library to connect to backend to call the REST APIs. So we are using in that demo because you have been taught Axios. So, and we have completed get and post. So put and delete, I'll show you. And the patch, which is a special one, I've not added it in the front end, but we can test it with your Postman. So this is your front end. Everyone clear on the front end side? Whatever I'm saying, keep responding in between so that, you know, I don't have to rewind. So this is your front controller. I'm so sorry. This is your React front end sending the request. But tell me, is it going to be... Mute yourself, guys. Aniket, I guess you are unmuted. Please mute yourself immediately. It is disturbing. Mute all, guys. So what I'm saying is, whatever request the Axios instance sends you, is it directly intercepted by the REST controller? Of course, answer is no. I've not drawn it. So you tell me. This will be a good revision. Just a second. I'll open it in the pen so that it will be. Anyone wants to tell me? We have done get and post both. So who will intercept? So let me talk in example. Suppose the requesting URL is, what was it? /API/employees or something. So tell me, who will be intercepting it? What will be this? Dispatcher servlet, very right. So dispatcher servlet is what? Common interceptor, right? Front controller of our backend application. Dispatcher servlet consults whom? Quick answers. We have been saying this almost for last 4 or 5 days. Handler mapping bean. Handler mapping bean, depending on the entries in the map, will either send you null or not null. Since we have already developed it, it will send you not null. So what will that not null consist of? It will give you something, a string basically. So what it will be? Answer in this. Wrong answer, Akshata, you are confused. I mean, it's not a logical unit. We have not reached yet. I said, what will handler mapping? Yes. So the fully qualified controller name and the method name. So which controllers, which method to call? This precious information. Have you this thing? I was surprised to see the wrong answer because we've been saying it so many days. Wait a second. Just opening this. Guys, I'm talking about our good old Spring MVC flow. So don't make such a mistake after spending so many days on it. Dispatcher, I'm so sorry. Handler mapping returns which REST controllers, which method to call. Okay, I'm going to revise it in a minute. So but this is just a conceptual revision. Then your REST controller will, I'm so sorry. Again, this dispatcher servlet will call your REST controllers request handling method. Understanding or not understanding? I think wait, what I'll do is Just a second. I'll open the front end and the back end. Anyway, will require you also guys open the front end and start the React app so that I can do the revision also and we can get quickly started also. Just opening this with code. So you keep that project opened in the code. You can start a terminal right there. I generally prefer to put it on the command prompt. You can do it the way you want, like so. So I'm not starting it yet, but I'm opening the whole project in VS Code. So what I was talking about, guys, is this. I was asking you this. So let's start systematically so that I don't have to waste time twice. So let me see this. There's an employee service.js, which has imported HTTP client, which is nothing but an Axios instance. And let us follow this path. So when there is an employee list component is calling this getAll method in the use effect hook. So can anyone tell me, let's start in a proper manner. What will be the request? Don't tell me the whole request, or okay, tell me the whole URL, which your front end will send it to the back end. Type it out. I'll repeat my question because people seem to be confused here. I said, what will be the URL which will be sent when the employee list component is launched, component is getting mounted? That is your use effect hook with the zero dependency. So localhost, no. Wrong answer, 3000. Hello, it is making a call, Prashant, to backend. So what will be the port number? Yes. So whatever, 80, 80, 90, 90, wherever your Tomcat is running, / go to HTTP commons. You can see. So here, what is the URL? Localhost, I'm using 8080 /API/employees. That's it. 100% of you are clear here. See, I don't want to waste too much time. Waste doesn't invest too much time on front end because that's not our forte. That's not our current topic. 100% clear? So what is the input which is given to your dispatcher servlet /API/employees? Now our discussion starts. So I was just asking you. I remove this. Okay. So I'll open that also. It helps us to keep this open. You also keep it open. That Spring MVC flow, I told you, whether it is a web application or whether it is a REST API endpoint, it is the same. So start answering fast. I have already wasted, or rather I have already delayed today's session. That's my bad. Anyway, so start with this. What will be the incoming request here? /API/employees with the method equal to get. Are we here? Front controller sends it to the handler mapping bean. Open your project. I'm opening this. What was it? Day 18 backend. Which controller will you open for this? Anyone wants to answer? There's only one controller, so there is no much choice. So which is the controller we are talking about? Is the employee controller. So anyone wants to tell me, what will it send back? Null or not null? Handler mapping bean. Of course not null. It was tested and all that. So what it will return? Fully qualified controller, REST controller name, .employee controller, and which method? Get all employee details or add employee details? Easy question. Of course, get all employee details. Is everyone clear? Keep all these diagrams open because it becomes so easy to trace the flow instead of reading a lot of tutorials. So control comes back here, and now dispatcher servlet will call our REST controller's API method. We are tracing it as well as doing this. So what is the dependency of the controller? Service. Everyone knows that. And of course, a service layer interface. So now the control will come here. We saw it with the debugging, SOP stresses. And now, what is it is going to call? Your dispatchers, I'm so sorry. The REST controller is calling the service layer method. Open it fast so that we will be having a complete revision. So what are the important annotations to be added to the service layer? Add service, add transactional, add service to tell Spring container, whatever follows, consists of which logic? Request handling logic, business logic, or data access logic, or persistence logic? Business logic. Everyone gets it? Great. So now the transactional, the second, this thing is transactional. So this is for telling Spring Container when any above layer, which is the layer above this, controller, calls this transactional annotated method, your Spring Container's transaction manager bean should begin a transaction. And which methods will be called within transaction? All these methods. Okay, so let us focus on one. So now control comes here. Okay, now tell me, it goes to, okay, sorry. What is the dependency of the service layer? Everyone knows it. What is the dependency of the service layer? Quickly. The down layer interface. It is an interface. So now, when we migrated from JPA to Spring Data JPA, which part is gone? DAO interface, implementation, both or neither? Answer is implementation. Who is going to provide you with the implementation? Spring Data JPA framework. So which is the interface you have to extend from? Give me the name of the super interface we extend from. JPA repository. JPA repository is extending to important super interfaces. Tell me the names. What does JPA repository extend from? CRUD repository and paging and sorting repository. And the super interface of CRUD repository is the interface repository. So guys, here in one of the, what is it called? One of the tabs, simply Google Spring Data JPA Java docs and open this, because this I have not downloaded the jar and given you, but you are anyway online, so you can refer. So what you should keep open always, you should look for JPA repo. JPA repo. So enable JPA repositories annotation is not required. This is an annotation. It is not required the moment you add the DAO layer under the base package. And the value of the base package is nothing but the name of the package of the main class. So if you keep it somewhere else, for example, your main class, Spring Boot main class is under com.app and you want to keep it under demo, then you require enable JPA repository annotation. But we are always going for defaults. So skip that. And the next hit will be JPA repository. Interface or a class? Interface. Generic or non-generic? G or NG? Generic. What are the two types? What is the first argument? T stands for what? Of course, don't, yeah, entity type, POJO type, exactly. And will this be the entity type or embeddable type? Because POJOs are divided into two categories of Hibernate, entity or embeddable. 100% entity. Say it to yourself like 10 times, embeddables do not have a separate existence. Embeddables are literally composed of part of relationship into entity. So you will never be able to give the embeddable here. It will be always entity type. And what is the second argument, guys? Everyone knows it. Entity must have a unique ID, right? So I have not yet taken the composite primary key. Sometime, if I can't manage in the time, I'll share, because maybe you'll require it in your projects. So coming back to the point, ID type. Okay, I was asking you which are the super interfaces and you gave me correct answer. One is CRUD, one is paging and sorting, and the root of all the interfaces, OSDJ, that is ORG Spring Framework Data JPA, is the main package, repository is the interface. Okay, so I was asking you, are we writing the implementation classes of our, open this, control click, of our employee repository, or is it going to be generated by Spring Data JPA framework? So framework or programmer, or Spring or programmer, whatever. It is framework supplied. You know that. And for understanding a little bit or answering in interviews, you can always see it has an implementation class, simple JPA repository. So that will be extended further. You will see all of that. And here T is the type of the entity to handle and ID is the entity's ID. And which are the two main annotations you see, which are so familiar at repository to tell that it is a DAO layer and at transactional, so that even if you skip sometime the service layer, you can inject this directly in your controller and still transaction will begin and transaction will end. But as far as my side project tips are concerned, don't do that. Just see, anyway, your DAO layer is all reduced to 0. So maintain a service layer comes handy. Okay, so this was your discussion of this. So let us go back to the code. Yeah, so here, when I say extend JPA repository, see this, I'm asking you a question. So this find all method, is it implemented by programmer or is it supplied by Spring Data JPA? Okay, framework or programmer, you can say this way. Spring supplied, Spring Data JPA, absolutely right. So you should always look at it, you should always look for the details. It's an easy one. So here, if you go back, it is part of JPA repository and so many methods. We're going to spend huge amount of time today. I don't know, huge or less, but I mean, whatever, some time at least on that to make you familiar with this. So when you say find all, which is the query it calls internally? Same, JPQL, select E from employee, but it creates a query. It executes it also, gets single result. And what is it returning? List of persistent entities. So this is what is the ultimate reduction. Okay, so here, who is returning what to whom? Your service layer is returning, tell me, list of persistent entities or list of detached entities to the controller, to the REST controller. You've forgotten, guys. Answer is detached. Here, because here, why detached? Because the moment transactional annotated method returns, transaction is over. Transaction over, implying session closed. Sorry. And you know the rest. L1 cache is gone. All those persistent entities are decoupled, disassociated. So who is returning what to whom? You can add a word here or anywhere we make a copy. So here, returns list of. Okay. List of detached. Are you understanding why I'm saying detached entities to the caller? And the caller is now your REST controller. Understood me correctly? Why I said detached? We've said it multiple times. And anyway, transaction management, I'm going to revise sometime today. So now the control comes back here. Where is that? Employee controller. Okay. Now, so here, now we are, initially I'm just returning the whole, but soon I'm going to wrap it in something called as response entity. That's a new topic later. So now tell me, who is returning what to whom? Don't answer me from here. Answer me from our Spring MVC flow. So tell me, who is returning what to whom? Your REST controller is returning list of employees to the front controller. So now I have a question. Revision it is. So when you have annotated the class level annotation as REST controller, what is it composed of? It is composed of two annotations. Tell me which ones. REST controller is equal to at controller class level, at response body on individual request handling return type. Very right. So if you see my today's revision picture, here I've written REST controller class level annotation is equal to at controller plus at response body. Do you have to add it explicitly or is it added implicitly? Implicitly added on all, actually I have forgotten the word, return type of all the request handling method. And how do you write a request handling method? Either you can use the super type annotation, request mapping, or get mapping, post mapping, put mapping, delete mapping. Everyone is clear? So now when, no, I'm not written, this is something else. Okay, so listen to this. So you tell me now, when the front controller is equal to dispatcher servlet gets some return types, gets some result annotated with at response body annotation, will it send it to the view resolver B or will it skip it? Of course, it will be skipped. Is it going to be treated as logical view name? No. Redirect view name? No. There is no view layer. I hope you have realized, I have shown a lot of diagrams. This whole view section is gone. The JSP, view resolver, model attributes, redirect attributes, HTTP session, all gone. If you are keeping it in your project's backend, 100% you have a design flaw, design mistake. Okay, so consult somebody. Anyway, so coming back to the point, now front controller sees the result with at response body. So you tell me, can it return this resource as it is, or is it going to send the representation of the resource or representation of resource? You can write in short form. Of course, representation. What does the REST stand for? Representational state transfer. What it means is the state of the resource is going to be manipulated between client and the server using URL, or you can say precisely URI, Uniform Resource Identifier, and standard methods, standard verbs such as get, put, post, delete, patch, options, head, etc. Okay, that's your REST. So coming back to the point here, so which conversion has to be done here? Marshalling or unmarshalling is equal to serialization or deserialization. Marshalling is equal to serialization. So what is that conversion from? Which type to which type, guys? Tell me the conversion. Java to JSON, absolutely. So for doing this Java to JSON, as a programmer, you have to write any conversion, or is it automatically done by the container? Specific technology to technology, absolutely. So the point is done by the container. How come? There's an interface called as HTTP message converter. By the way, this is not part of Spring Boot. I told you Spring Boot is just a convenient layer above Spring Framework. So guys, you can keep opening Spring Framework documentation, which I had given you a couple of days back, because you have to relate. Then only you can revise and all that. I have written it in READMEs, but best place is, Java docs. So when you go to Spring Framework documentation, so you can search for HTTP message converter interface. So this is your implementation class. I'm just taking you to the interface HTTP message converter. Okay, so this HTTP message converter interface, read this strategy interface that specifies a converter, Java to whatever, that can convert from as well as to HTTP requests and responses. So don't let me confuse you right in the morning. When you say at response body, you are triggering which conversion from Java to JSON. But how does it know that it has to convert it into JSON? You can see this. There are so many implementation classes. And one of them you will see Jackson. Okay, there is a JSON, that is Google JSON provider. I have not added that. I have added the, is this one? Mapping, yeah. So there is an implementation class. See the name of the class. I've written all of it in that important README. Spring MVC versus REST API. So which is the class? Mapping Jackson to HTTP message converter. And how come I'm getting all these implementation classes and all that? Answer is right here. You should be able to convince people, evaluators, interviewers, that you have not just copy-pasted code from anywhere, you have thought it properly or you understood it properly. That is what is impressive. So open the Maven dependencies. And if you open the Maven dependencies, see this. You will see so many. Jackson is the vendor, one of the vendors for Java to JSON as well as Java to XML converter. I'm not showing you Java to XML because the data exchange format, which we have chosen, lightweight data exchange format as JSON. So this is the Jackson annotation. This is that Jackson core. And if you open this Jackson core, com faster XML Jackson core, and here what it uses, there is a class called as, I can't see it from here, base64 and all later. Somewhere there is a class. I forgot this thing. I'll tell you in a minute. I'll just use it. There is a class it uses internally. Object mapper. Only thing is I've forgotten this. Yeah, data bind. It is not from the core package. It is from the other package. So here, other jar I meant. No, other package I meant. So here, data bind is it. Can you see that? No, there is a different jar itself. So open Jackson data bind jar. And here the first, package itself is having. And here, this is what I was telling you. There is a class Jackson supplied object mapper, which is going to be used internally by dispatcher servlet for your serialization purpose, which is Java to JSON, and the deserialization purpose using at request body annotation from JSON to Java. Okay, so all these are the complete internals. So coming back to the point, if you get this flow, so what will be returned as the response to your React client? It is nothing but the JSON array corresponding to list of employees. So tell me, is the first request response flow clear? Okay, now let us dissect or analyze the second request. Second request means adding a new employee. Okay, open my Frontend. Here Axios instance and all is the same. /API/employees, the URL pattern is also same. And then we had just finished this much because we were talking in concepts and all. So now tell me, what is it your Frontend sending to the backend? It's nothing but making a Axios instance.post. Are we adding any additional path variables or anything? Nothing. But what is sent here? Tell me, what is data? It's nothing but a JSON, JavaScript object. Everyone clear? It is a JavaScript JSON representation of employee. Clear or not clear? Everyone clear? Okay. So now this request comes to our backend. Everything is the same. Flow is the same. So this time this request is post ending in /API/employees. Can it be intercepted by dispatcher servlet? Yes. Goes to handler mapping, and handler mapping will definitely return not null. So what it is going to return is here. Open the controller. You know all about this. So which method it will call? I mean, which method? Of course, fully qualified. Which controllers, which method? So same employee controller. Get all employees or add employee details? Obviously add employee details. Okay. So control comes back to dispatcher servlet, and then it calls our REST controllers, add whatever method. So this is how the control reached here. Is everyone with me? After sleeping over it for a weekend, I hope, and after this revision, I hope things are clear, kind of clear, more than 50-60% clear, at least I'm saying. Okay, so now here is the another annotation. So you tell me. Okay, let's rewind slightly, not too much. What is it your front controller going to get? Is it going to get an employee as a Java object or its representation? Resource or its representation? Of course, representation. And which format we have chosen? JSON format. So now, which conversion has to happen? Marshalling is equal to serialization, or unmarshalling is equal to deserialization. Of course, JSON to Java, which is unmarshalling. So how do you want to do it yourself? Technically speaking, you can. Object mapper class has APIs for all type of conversions. It can read it from string, JSON string, file, anything, n number of things. But the point is, when you have annotation, why struggle? So when you use at request body annotation, what is it you are telling the Spring container? whatever is the incoming JSON, what is it called? Reconstructed. You remember the word reconstructing Java object or even Java object graph. Right now, there's a single Java object employee, but employee has a department has a location, etc. All entire object graph can be reconstructed. So this is where your, what is it called? Deserialization is equal to unmarshalling. And I hope you are suitably impressed with the framework. Just one annotation does the job. So I have a small question here. When you add at request body such method argument level annotation, which of the following are we doing? So our first option is option 1, unmarshalling. Option 2, server-side validation. Option 3, both of above. Option 4, none of above. What is happening with request body annotation? Unmarshalling, validation, both or neither? Only unmarshalling. Wait for some more time. I don't know how much time. And you will be adding, just one annotation, guys, at the rate valid. I'm just preparing you for something ahead of time. One annotation. And this is nothing but our Pojo entity. You will be adding some validation rules in, again, using annotations at not null constraint, whatever constraints and all that. And in core Java, we had to write the complete validation rules. In JavaScript, client-side, validation, you have to write some JavaScript business logic. Here, with annotations, whole things can get over. Of course, in JavaScript, you can use Formic or you can use some libraries. But the point is, I'm not spending time in React. I'll show you on server side. So let me say this again. Currently, no validation. We are just blindly accepting the data, hoping that client will give us everything fine, front end, and just taking it. Okay, so validation will come little later. Now, standard. Who is calling whose method? REST controller is invoking service layer method. So go to service layer method. It is all more than easy. Here, what is it we are getting from the front end is the representation of the entity. But that entity is what? Transient entity. So what is the job? Here, do I have to write a DAO implementation layer? Implementation class to write? Absolutely not. So again, take the help of API docs, please. What is the super interface of JPA repository? It's CRUD repository. And in CRUD repository, can you see there is a method called as save. And this method save, is it internally going to work as save or update? In short, is there a separate method such as save and separate method for update, or this itself? Answer is, it is going to act as save or update. Very right. So how will your Spring Data JPA framework, which is a top layer abstraction level layer of JPA implemented by Hibernate? So we are back to Hibernate. How will Hibernate understand save or update? As in insert query to fire or update query to fire? You know the answer. Checking the ID. So here, what is the type of the ID we have used? Java.lang.integer, a wrapper class. So which check it will do? 0 or non-zero, or null or not null? Null or not null. If you have given int, which is 100% not recommended, it will do the 0 non-zero check. But don't go there. Keep it as wrapper, either integer or log. Okay. So if you are passing an employee with null, you tell me what it will take it as. Transient, yeah, insert query, as in transient or detached. Transient. So of course it will fire the insert query. Some time later, I'm going to show you update also. So there you will see same method we will call, but with the ID null or not null. Of course not null. And that it will take it as a detached Pojo. And for detached to persistent, which query it will fire? Insert or update? Obviously, update query. Okay. So this is where we had stopped at on Saturday. So now it's a good time to ask questions. Anything what I said so far in full stack application, including the flow, including the annotations and all that. Oh, sorry, one more small revision, and then you can ask your questions. So everyone now knows at rest controller, at request mapping, but there is an additional annotation. So tell me, if you comment this annotation, will postman client work or will it not work? Will it be testable with postman? Postman works. Postman worked. But will your browser client, such as Angular or React, will it work, or Vue.js or whatever? 100% not. So anyone wants to tell me, what is the significance of this annotation? It is for adding one header, enabling something. So what does it enable? Tell me. At cross origin is for enabling something. Which one? Enabling which header? 3000 to 1991 connect. I don't know. The port number different. Okay. It is to enable the course header. Exactly. Gaurav is right. Allow cross origin resource handling. That is your course. Course standing for cross origin resource sharing. In short, you are telling the browser. Okay, let me say this properly. When you add this, a special header, cross origin resource sharing header, course header will be added in the response. That is to tell your browser client, as in your React client, React frontend, browser, basically browser. Browser by default, for security reason, will not accept any responses other than its own origin. So what is the origin? What is the port number where your React client is running? The default port number, 3000. You can change it to anything, you know that. But now the 3000 origin, and where is our backend running? 8080, 9090 something. So that is the cross origin. So today I am running everything on a local host, but you could be separating it on different hosts, different things. So anything, any changes in the protocol, host, I mean domain or port number is cross origin. So for specifically, we are telling browser if there is any response coming from this origin, okay, or you are setting the course header to accept the connection between or the communication between the backend, sorry, front end port and the backend port. Otherwise, 100% you will get cross origin resource sharing. I mean, exception I've shown you on the console, and the only way to figure it out, only way to suppress it is this. There is a shortcut. You can say origin equal to star, but which is not recommended. It will expose your browser to accept responses from any origin. Don't do that. So let us be specific to only our front end. So now I think I've revised everything. But on the top of it, if you have a specific question, please ask. Otherwise, we are proceeding to today's things. You let me know if something you have seen but not working, anything. A lab type question, I'll handle it in lab, sharing screen and all. But any other question, I can always take it here. Okay, so you keep your questions ready, and whenever you have some, I mean, some little break or whatever, you keep asking me. So guys, are we ready to proceed to the remaining functionalities and then take you further? Update and delete. Can we go ahead? Tell me yes or no. Okay. Has anyone tried on their own update and delete? Has anyone tried so far? Okay, no one has tried. Fine. Delete is the easier one. So first we'll finish delete, which will get over fast. I mean, both of them, but let's start with delete. So you continue with the same backend. You know, I have to maintain it day-wise. So I'm going to make a copy. I'll make it as day 19 and call it as employee backend. So later, you know, it becomes easier for you to recall what that project is doing. Anyway, it is all there in the sequence. Okay. And here, let me just change that form.xml. Day 19. Employee front end. So that is a backend. Okay. I'm just checking. Yeah. You continue with that. So you don't have to waste time in copying and all that. Okay. So there are no red crosses and all. So first understand the backend part, and then we will add the front end part to it. So open my React tab and look for employee list.js, employee list component in short. Reach here. So this is like a grid view. So we are mapping, I hope you have opened employee list component. It's just a table having all employee list, and you will see somewhere there is a delete link. Yeah. Oh, sorry. There is a, delete button. Found it? Otherwise, you can look up here. In the employee list component, you will find in the list of employees, there is an update button, there is a delete button. So let us press the delete button. So you start telling me on click, whenever client, the end user clicks on this, which will be the event handling method, which will be called handle delete with employee ID. Clear so far? How the control reaches here? This is your simple React code. So here you will see a function handle delete. Okay. Doing again, like how we have SOPs, we are console logging it just to check whether things are fine. And then who is calling whose method? Your React component is calling the service layer method, employee service.remove. And all I'm passing is the ID, because for deleting the employee record, what you require is a key. Okay. So in case of success, in case of success, I'll show you that service in a minute. I've just given this. So response data, we'll give a message that employee, this particular employee deleted successfully. So you can console log it. You can check it on the console. And then I'm calling the init method again. So that init method is nothing but going to make another backend call, which is that backend call the init method is doing. Now see, one of the record has been deleted. So it has to refresh that employee list view. It has to render the view again. So again, it is getting the entire employee data, employee list with one record minus and setting. This is your use state hookah setter. So setting the employee data. And you know, when any state of the React component, which state has been modified? The employee state has been modified. Component is re-rendered. Means what? The render function, in the functional component, there's no render function, but this will be called, and you will definitely see the updated view. All the statements reach everyone properly. Everyone understood it. So now focus on our, what is it? The service. All I'm interested in showing you is the service. So here we are talking about this service. So I'm calling on Axios instance delete. You know, Axios has all these methods, get, put, post, delete, patch, etc. And anyone wants to tell me how it is we are sending the employee ID to be deleted to the backend. Your choices are request body, request parameter, or a path variable. You know the answer. It's a path variable, URI variable. Exactly, very right. So all we have to do is inject it using path variable, call the service layer methods, etc., and do the job. Is the front-end code fully clear? Okay, so it is always best, you know, guys, best way to write that incoming URL. So understanding the code even after 2 months will be easy. So which controller is going to handle it? I don't have a choice. It's a resource-oriented ROA architecture. So resource-oriented, which is the resource we are, whose representation we are sending is employee. That is why we have written the employee controller. Okay, come to employee, start coding along with me. It's not going to be too much code. If the code sizes increase, I will send you. Okay, so here, anyone. So I'll say add request handling. It is still a HTTP request. We are into RESTful APIs, REST APIs. Add request handling method to delete employee details by employee ID. So just to check, not check exactly, just to give you, proper understanding. So what is the request URL sent by Frontend? Because if you understand it at this level, I don't have to worry about you. I mean, you'll definitely manage it in your projects. So some host, some port, could be cross origin, could be the same. Same origin is difficult. Cross origin. Here, API. What was it? Employees, right? Just a second. Employee or employees, I keep forgetting. Employees, I guess. Yeah, of course, I will have it at the top. Why am I looking into Frontend? I will have it from here. Yeah. So /API/employees. And then you have the employee ID, right? So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, this is the employee ID. Okay. So now you tell me which annotation I should, okay, sorry. I should say with method equal to delete. Everyone with me? Okay. So start answering. So what is the obvious which is the annotation I should use to handle the delete request? Get mapping, post mapping, put mapping, or delete mapping? Of course, yes. I got the answer also. Very good, guys. With the ID also, those who said Abhijit, I guess. Delete mapping. And it has a incoming URI variable. So everyone knows slash. I can give any variable name. I can make it as ID, employee ID, whatever you like. So far, no matching. You choose. But when you inject, now it has to match. Okay, so let's write public. What is it going to return? Actually speaking, delete methods do not return. Delete methods, delete API doesn't return anything. But just to give a message, I'll say string and I'll say, so that you know when you're console logging it, you can see that if you want. Delete employee details. And which is the annotation? Request body for body. I mean, you know, the data. The request param for request parameter. Here it is path variable. And it is int, right? Integer we had. So int I can say. And here it has to be ID. I hope you are understanding and coding along. In a minute, I'll send you this. So please add debugging in delete employee details and add this ID. So we'll know if something goes wrong, you'll know that, okay, this is where is the problem. And now you just have to call the method. So we don't have a method. We are doing the reverse way, top down way. You can do whichever way you like. So employee service dot delete employee. I can call the same method name and I'm going to pass the ID. And here we will return a string from here, and that string will be returned to the, that string is converted into JSON. I mean, string, not a JSON exactly, will be sent to the front end. Understood the method in the controller? I'll send you this in case anyone wants it. I'm sending you the code, guys, in case you want to comment and all of it. So you tell me, what is the next step? Where should I go? What is the layer below the controller? Service. So go to the service layer here. Do it in a systematic manner. I'm telling you from experience, things are easier. And let me just take the method name here. I could have said control1 and added, but avoiding that. So here I'm saying, here, what is the string, delete employee details, and ID. You got it? So this is your method declaration. Reached? Okay, but service layer implementation, who has to write? Programmer has to write or Spring supplied? Of course, a programmer. Here you don't have any repos. Repos and all are at the DAO layer, you know that. So now let us make a change in this. So simply say source, override implement methods. Okay, this. Okay, go systematically, guys. For understanding, I'm writing in a top-down manner. But if you have your project details at all, you can build it in you should build it in a bottom-up manner. Anyway, now tell me, who has to call whose method? Service has to invoke service layer invokes dows method. But the point is, I don't have a dow layer. I mean, I don't have a dow layer I just have an interface, but no method. Absolutely no worries. It is such a powerful Spring Data JPA framework. You will be amazed when you start using it. See the method name. See, I'll show you where I am. Open CRUD repository. So usually you can just Google, what is it called? Spring Data JPA API docs, search CRUD repository, and you will find a method delete by ID. Do you remember what we had to do earlier in Hibernate and later JPA? We had to, from the ID, we had to say session.get. Remembering Hibernate or forgotten? I said, if I want to delete a record, we had to first say session.get, get the Hibernate POJO, I mean persistent POJO, check null or not null, and then call the delete method session.delete. In JPA, if I translate my statements to JPA, there was a get was replaced by find. Again, it was returning null or not null. So again, a check, and then JPA, that entity manager dot remove. And imagine the comfort. You have directly a method which internally does the same thing, but delete by ID deletes the entity with given ID. I'm telling you, the whole idea was to show you all these things because they are part of your contents, but project technology can be this. So anyway, so let's call this, what was it? The dow layer employee repo dot delete. There are so many methods, and here you supply this. Okay, so if you take the cursor here, see this, it is void returning. I'm telling you, delete, whether it is a HTTP method or delete methods, void returning. But if there are no exceptions and all, you can return a message, employee with ID, employee details, I'll say, with ID, deleted. Just I'm generating a message, like how we used to do for DML, deleted successfully. Otherwise, you'll get an exception, error, or something. So I'll send you this also. And I hope you are enjoying this. ID is our primary key. While we are, Shubham, where are you? The whole core Java into integer, auto boxing done by the compiler. That's the answer. By the way, Shubham, you can also inject this. Guys, not just Shubham. Here I can make it as integer and your, what is it? Request parameter is string. I'm so sorry. Path variable is string. So string to parsing and auto boxing or rather converting into integer will be done by Spring Framework. But when you have compiler, why struggle? Understood me this one? Shubham? No problem. So where are we? Employee service implementation. Yeah. So this is your, I was going to send you the. Okay. So this is it. So we are done. We are done. I mean, we are ready for testing. So here, employee controller, I've given all these SOPs. So always test it first with the Postman. It just takes you a minute and then you connect it with your front end. You can start the front end, maybe it takes sometimes a minute. So I'm just launching the front end. Let it start. Let it take its own time. I'm starting also the Postman client. And now let us run the this thing, your backend application. So guys, here what I'm saying, which is one of the ways I have shown you to run this backend application. Open the main class, right click, run as Spring Boot app. So one day, one thing. Tomorrow maybe jar file creation. Today, tomorrow, I don't know. Another way is right click on the project itself, run as. Will you choose it as what? Run as Java application or whatever? Answer is Spring Boot app again. And it will launch it in the same manner. So whichever way you like, whichever way you understand, I'm okay with that. Okay. I said, I'll repeat, right click on the project itself, run as Spring Boot app will give you the same. So always confirm. I've just got a, the React front end made a call. Are you looking at things, guys? I have launched the React Frontend, and React Frontend, the first component is employee list. And in the component mounting phase, that init phase, I'm making a call to backend. So you can see all of that. And here you can see the whole thing. But we are testing that delete first with the Postman. You can, of course, test it with here. I've tested the whole front end anyway. So just to make you ready, I don't want this welcome page. Okay, so open the tab. Which is the request you are having? A delete request. So here, okay, localhost 8080 employees, and let's delete some record, okay? So, okay, so I'm just choosing anything. So let's say ID 4. Is it fine? Okay, and if I send the request, you can see this string here. So tell me, is it working fine with Postman? Try it out, test it out. I'll wait here. And here, of course, you refresh it from here, Mihir's record should be gone. So it is reflecting properly. And let's delete one of the records here. And if you see the inspect tool, console, you can see. Are you seeing this? I have console logged the message. The backend is sending me this. So here I'm sending it. I'm sending all those typical debugging and all that. So printing ID1 and deleted. And this data is the remaining data. After deleting, I'm making a call. I as in front end is calling the init method again, which makes another call to the backend to get the latest details. So tell me guys, is it working from your Postman as well as React client? Okay. So I hope this is giving you a lot of, confidence in integrating React. Already you knew, I'm just concentrating on your backend part. Okay. So let's do the last and most interesting one, update, and then we'll go to next topic. So you can stop the backend app since we are developing. You can see all this. Oh, you can see this. So delete from employee where ID equal to this. So everything is the same. You have been doing it all this for last whatever week or more than a week in Hibernate. Only thing is now Spring Data JPA did it for us. What was the name of the method we had to call from the CRUD repository? Delete by ID. And automatically delete query is fired. Got the concept? I mean, both concept and implementation. Okay, so let us move on to update. As usual, first understand how I've done it in the front end, and then based on that, we can write our backend. Okay, so let me stop the backend project and focus on open the VS Code. So open the component again, employee list, and which is the button you are going to press now? Update button. So open employee list and look at update. So now look at this. This is when you say link tag, everyone knows the link tag, link to. So this is what is actually taking you to the other component. Which component? Employees component /employee/edit. So this is a route. Everyone knows about routing in React with the one argument employee ID. I don't have to repeat. Okay, I'll still repeat. When the update button is called, see, unlike delete, I was handling delete right here. But here, I'm doing extra. That is, I'm routing the client to the another component. Page is same. It is a single page application, index.html. But which component, you'll have to see that from your app.js. So remember this /employee/edit with ID. So open Control P, app.js. And you tell me, which is the component you are going to open for this? Every it is easy as the front end. I have kept it very easy. So add employee, but will be this route line number 14 or line number 15? Everyone knows that line number 15, but I have just merged add as well as update in one because it is just one difference of ID. So of course line number this, and here we are injecting one parameter, route parameter colon ID. So open add employee, please. And so what all hooks? Use state, use effect is fine. But in addition to that, I have used use params. So that request parameter, whatever is being sent, can be route parameter rather, can be used. So you can see all of this later. I mean, ID, I have already, what is it called? Destructuring. So I have destructured this and I've got extracted the ID. So now let's go to use effect because that is what will be called first. So here, this is like component mounting phase. So now, will it go into if ID branch or will it, I mean, okay, let me ask you, will it enter line number 44 or not? If ID, true or false? Of course, line number 44, because we have injected ID, whichever was selected by user. So now see this and absorb. So again, everything is the same. Component calling the service layer method. There was a controller calling service layer. Here it is a component calling service layer method. So employee service dot get. And if the call succeeds, if the backend call succeeds, I'm sending back what I must be sending back, or not I must be. What is it we have to send back is the selected employee details. I'll show you this method. And here, then I'm just making use of setters, that use state hook kind of setters, to set the employee name, location, and department. I don't have to set the ID because ID is already chosen. Understood if part of the code? I mean, if and this thing. Understood the React part of the code, guys? Okay. Now, so catch means, okay, there is no employee record by that ID. And then, of course, you'll get an exception. So now, finally, look for employee service. And which is the method we have to write is first this one. So when you say update, guys, first you have to show the existing details. So this is your form binding. This is your form binding in React. Some more time give me. I don't know, maybe half an hour, whatever. I'll show you form binding technique in Spring Web MVC, which is a pending topic. I'll repeat. When you say get, this is what we have to write. In a minute, we will write that. So the backend should return what? Single employee details or multiple? This method, what should it return? The backend method. Of course, the single employee details. And that I'm binding it, not to the form data, but to the actual employee details. And then we will do the updation part. So focus on one thing at a time. So when you say this get, I'm passing again a request parameter. Am I doing it correctly? Yeah. So you are going to help me now. So you can, have you stopped the, what is it called? The Spring Boot application. And you will tell me what is the next thing we should do. Open employee controller. And are we going to write a method with put mapping or get mapping? Now, currently, everyone is clear? First, you have to, the backend has to send back the existing details that will be bound to form data in a short while. I'll show you that JSX, and then user will get a chance to update anything and everything. Okay, so of course you are right. So please add a comment, add request handling method to get selected employee details by ID. Okay, so here is this. And as you said, okay, sorry. We write a URL always to keep the things extra clear. So this is going to be the same. Method is going to be only get. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is just an employee ID. And this method is going to be get. So you can proceed without me. You don't require my help. At the rate get mapping. Is this get mapping going to be ambiguous or clash with this? No, because we are adding the extra path variable. Okay, so slash. I'm just changing the name. Otherwise, you will think that, okay, this has to be ID all the time. Nothing of the sort. You can say ABC. What will be the return type of this method? Anyone wants to tell me? You have seen the front end, so you should be able to answer in the back end. Employee is a very right answer. Currently employee. Later, we will wrap it in something called as response entity. All that in good time. Employee. And let's say get employee. Yes. Inject the path variable. I hope you have practiced enough or revised enough in Saturday, Sunday. So all this is not sounding difficult. Even though my data type of ID inherited from base entities integer, compiler can automatically perform auto boxing. So no worries. And here, add the debugging. Later, I'll show you. There is a simple logging facade for Java, SLF4, the logger framework, and we can keep logging messages instead of SOP. So this is this, and yeah, I want to display whether my employee ID is reached correctly from backend to, front end to backend. And now, as usual, invoke service layer method. Correct? So let's do that. So let's simply say, I don't have the method which we will write employee service dot get. You can say fetch. Okay, if you say the method name has to be same, you know nothing of the sort. So I just change it. Fetch employee details and you pass employee ID. Okay, of course there is nothing here. So create a method where, okay, I'll wait here so that I'll show you the shortcut so I don't have to write it. You don't have to write it. Reach here. But there's no method, so I'm saying use the IDE tricks. Say control1 and it says create a method. So say yes to it. So earlier I typed it, so now the shortcut I can show. So this is added in the interface. This looks fine, yeah. And let's write a implementation class. Let's add that method in the implementation class also. Source. Yeah. So you tell me. Okay, let's not waste your time. Anyone wants to tell me? So here it has to call the downlayer method. And I hope everyone remembers there's no implementation. So just open the CRUD repository interface. I don't remember whether I've shown you or not because so many things we keep talking about. So look for a method, find by ID. I'll say this. Open the CRUD repository and look for a method called as find by ID. Found it or not? I hope you have opened the Java docs. Please keep Spring Boot, Spring Framework, JPA, all the Java docs handy. And read this. I hope you remember our core Java, streams programming, Java 8 special features. So does everyone or anyone remember this optional class in java.util package? We have spent a lot of time in optionals. No memory, no ringing bells anywhere. Java.util.optional class. What does it represent? A holder is equal to container, which may or may not hold the value. So guys, tell me here, if the ID, whatever ID the front end passes is an invalid ID, what will this optional hold? Empty or non-empty? What will this represent? Empty container, empty holder, or populated one? Empty, obviously. And otherwise, it will have, if none is found, see optional empty. And otherwise, it will hold the optional of the type. T will be replaced by what? What is our POJO type? Entity type is employee. And then there is a get method in the optional class to get the values. Understood what I said? So is there any method to check if it is the values present or not present? Okay, guys, not a memory test. You can click on this and you can see the optional class, and there's a method called as is present will true get, will return true, and then you can follow it by get method. Yes, Pushkaraj, very good. Good memory recall. Understood what I said? Yes or no? But here, I'll have to spend 2 lines on that. I mean, multiple statements. So I'll get optional holding employee, then is present. If is present is true, I mean, if it returns true, then call get. Can we do it in 1 line? Answer is yes. So there is a method called as or else throw. Okay. So or else throw. I don't remember. I think I talked about it, but I don't frankly remember. So here, or else throw method, what it will do? In case the container, optional container holds the value, it will return the value if present. So do I have to do the if else checking? Absolutely not. But otherwise, it will throw the exception created by your supplier. So supplier is again I'm talking in core Java, it is a functional interface. Can functional interface be replaced by lambda expression and in some cases method reference? Yes. And here, what is that single functional method, single abstract method is get, it's supplier. So of course, this is what you have to convert it to lambda. So no arguments, and this should return you whatever exception instance you want to return. I'll repeat the story once again so that everyone will understand it. Start and recap with me fast. Which is the method we are going to use here? Find by ID. What is it which we will pass here? Employee ID. Is it returning me directly employee instance or optional holding the employee? Employee or optional? Easy question. Optional. So I said, how to find out? If you what is it called? Blindly said get, you will get no such element exception. So I don't want to get into exception. So there are 2 ways. So one way, the longer way is call if present. Is present. If is present returns to, okay, let me trace it. So here, go to that optional. And here, go to the top. And here, you can write, you can think in code, optional employee, optional equal to something. I mean, dow dot find by ID. If it is, this returns true, you say get and story over. But people definitely appreciate more and more streams programming or that functional programming. So there is a shortcut method. What is the name of the method? Or else throw. See the name, functional programming, the highlight is it is so, what do you say, common sense based. Or else throw means what? Either return the content value, return that employee, or else throw this particular exception. So what is this supplier? Is it a functional interface or not a functional interface? I'm repeating the whole story so that everyone gets it. It is a functional interface. Can it be replaced by lambda expression? 100%. Method reference? Sometimes, maybe. So let's not go to method reference. Let's talk to lambda expression. So what is the next question we used to ask is, which is that functional method? Means, which is that single abstract method? Answer is get. And here, this is what you are going to convert into lambda. So anyone wants to tell me, what will be the lambda argument? This one, method argument becomes the lambda argument. Right arrow. And what should it return? This is nothing but that exception. So here, see, the employee is not found. So there is a resource which is not found. So let us create our own custom exception. When I say in the middle of night custom exception, what does it? Built-in Java supplied exception or programmer created exception? Of course, programmer created. Everyone understands it? But there is a slight change. Throughout core Java, whenever we created a custom exception, was it a checked one or was it an unchecked variety? Checked or unchecked? Checked one. Means what? What was the super class? Exception or runtime exception? Exception. But what is it your Spring as well as Hibernate as well as Spring, what do you say, J2E frameworks recommend? Checked exception or unchecked exception? Unchecked. So what will be the super class of our custom exception? Runtime exception. And that we will send it in or else through. Okay. So let us get started and complete this and look at that update part. This is only the get part. Okay. So where are we? Yes, invoke DAOs method. So start. What was that? Employee DAO, I guess. Employee repo, sorry. Employee repo dot find by ID. See the method name styling find by ID. Okay. And here you pass the employee ID. Okay. But what is it returning, guys? Unfortunately or fortunately, it is not returning the employee directly. So I will first do it in 2 lines and then I'm going to do it in 1 line. I mean, not if present and all. Yeah, I'll just show you. To new this. And here if I say, suppose like optional. And here you can say return optional dot or else through. So if it is containing employee, very good, return it to the caller. Otherwise, throw the exception. What is the argument of it? Supplier. Supplier is a functional interface getting a SAM, single abstract method get. So the argument of the lambda is single. And here you just have to create the instance, which we don't have. We will create. I'll create a custom exception in a minute. Resource not found exception. You'll say where it is. In a minute we'll create. And what is the this thing? Employee by ID, whatever. Employee ID not found. Okay. And of course, it is going to give you the compiler error because we don't have that class. And I would say, if you don't want to invest 2 lines, you can do it in 1 line also. So here, I'm just keeping it under comment. But here, can I not do it in 1 line? Of course you can. So here, this is how you'll be writing a crisp functional style code. So take a look at it here. Employee repo. Extending from JPA repo, extending further by CRUD repository. In CRUD repository, okay, just take the cursor here and you'll know whose method we are using. We are using the inherited method of CRUD repository. And if it is, oh, okay, what is it returning? Optional type of employee. So if it is contained, if it is available, return that, which is matching with our return type. But if not, we will throw the custom exception. So I just have to create that custom exception in a minute. But tell me, otherwise, is the code clear? We are making the as much as possible functional programming. But I'm giving a disclaimer. Guys, today is not the day of Java 8 functional streams or functional programming. So if you don't understand it, go ahead, use the method is present, if optional dot is present, and then return it. Then return say optional dot get. Whatever you understand is good enough. But if you want to do this, this is the way we recommend. This is the way you will see it in so many tutorials. So now I want to create a class, but I don't want it in a service. Let's create a different package, custom exceptions or custom exception, whatever. And the name is already this. And what is going to be the super class? Checked exception or unchecked exception, runtime exception, and finish it. And here, as usual, this was not found exception. You can add the throwable clause and all. I'm just adding an error message just to keep it simple and clear and calling the Super message. This we have done so many times. And if you don't want to see this serializable warning, we are not going to do any serialization, deserialization here. So that's it. So sending you this code also. I don't think you require this, but in case. Creating a unchecked exception, unchecked custom exception, so that compiler doesn't force the handling of it. So the new addition was two things: find by ID method inherited from CRUD repo and the or else throw. So this is the lambda corresponding to the get method of supplier interface, which is a functional interface. So get is what? It's a supplier. So no arguments, returning the exception instance, which will be thrown automatically by this method. You can anytime read this. Throws an exception produced by the exception supplier function. So this is the exception I have produced. I don't have to say throw new resource not found. That will be done by the API. Wait here. You tell me. Let's do it fast. I mean, you tell me whenever you are done. Two things you have to write: the service layer method and the exception class, custom exception class. Let me know whenever you do, whenever you finish. Very good, Krishan. Let's wait for a couple of more duns. What about others, guys? Have you finished it so that I can test it? Done? Okay. You can't test it partially with React. That is why we have a front-end tool, this one, Postman. So let's test this. Let's start your app. Don't test it with React because we have not written that update part. But you can always test it with this one. So it's the same API, same this. So give something which is existing in your database, okay? So I got 2356. Okay, fine. So let me give that as always test your endpoints first and then integrate it to your front end. So tell me, are you getting the details of the existing employee? You check it with Postman. Keep Postman also open. Keep React frontend also open. Don't test it in React. After clicking the update button, it will simply stall. We have not written any update action yet. Test it with this thing, Postman. You know what? I'll send you the URL. I had already written it in the controller. This is the, I don't know which employee ID you have. Please check it out and replace. Done? You let me know. But now the interesting thing, cool thing is to check, what if I give something which doesn't exist? Yes, please. What is it you are going to see? Are you going to see any employee details? Of course not. So what is it you expect to see? Quickly. A custom exception. But well, okay, let me not say anything. Of course, custom exceptions is sent. And this is my, this is a connection, guys. Each topic is connected to the next topic. So here, what are you looking at? Okay, this becomes a little difficult. So I'll just paste this, copy this, and open it in the text editor. Oh, I wanted to open a fresh one. Yeah, so just take a look at it. So tell me, this error response, who is sending? Your choices are programmer or Spring Boot framework. P or S. Programmer is sending this entire stack trace. I never sent it. Answer is Spring Boot. This is the Spring Boot. Programmer is throwing the exception. Shubham or somebody who said wrongly. See guys, understand my English. Programmer is, what is it called? Throwing the exception, but sending this error response. Can you identify this is nothing but a JSON? JSONized error response, which has a timestamp, status code, the representation of status code, internal server error, and the entire stack trace. And here you can pinpoint, this is the exception we have sent, or rather we have thrown. Making sense, understanding, figuring it out. Okay, so my standard question, standard answer. Do you really want to send this entire, okay, message and all that? Do you really want to send this entire stack trace to the front end and scare off or unnecessary information? No. So that is where little later, after we finish all this, I'm going to show you the error handling. There's a beautiful topic, very, very required topic for your projects, centralized exception handling or that global exception handling, and then we'll get rid of it. And if you were the, what do you say, a front-end developer or something, what is the only thing you'll require? Error message. That is all. Okay. So we'll nicely create that error message. But I don't want to do it for 10 different controllers, 20 different methods. I want to do it in a global manner, centralized manner. So all of that we'll do sometime later. So currently everyone understands, everyone understood, or rather forget understood. Everyone got that full stack trace from in the front end. So keep it at the back of your mind that this has to be corrected. Okay, this is not how we develop a backend. Never. Okay, so having said that, this looks fine. Now let's go and finish the update part. Open front end. Open, what is that? Add employee.js. So this is we are getting. I've not tested it here, but you can always console log it and check it. But now, whenever you set the state, the component is re-rendered. I'm talking about React component re-rendered. So this JSX will be called, this is nothing but your render function, right? So here, again, you should change it to add or update. Now start answering. So here, this is nothing but, you know, on chain. I'll not explain the React code, no time, absolutely. So here you are accepting a new name, department, and the location. But tell me here, look at these value tags everywhere, value attributes everywhere, and you tell me, when you click on that update button, are you going to get a pre-populated data sent by the backend or the empty form? Pre-populated. Okay. So here, now go to your React frontend. Have I closed my backend? No, it's still running. All that exception and all. I'll just clear the exception and just go to your React frontend and try this out. So let's say, suppose I want to update the Riaz details. So tell me, you can always trace it, guys, using all this, you know, network tab and the console and all that. So tell me, are you getting the pre-populated form or like empty data or pre-populated? Of course, pre-populated. Nothing great about it. We're just, if you see the console, backend console, you'll know this is that in get employee details 3 and the select query. So one half done. I'm getting this, but that update button will not work because we have not written any method still. 100% clear so far? Because only the last part is remaining, writing that update. Okay, so now trace it from the front end code. So where are we? So here, okay, so button is like, again, it should have been save or update, but you know that. So the method it is calling is the same method as in function, save employee. So go to that save employee. Where is that save employee? Yes, prevent default to do the form, to prevent the form submission. Destructuring object. And here, tell me, if branch or else branch. Already there are comments. Where will it enter? If or else? Of course, if, because I have got that ID from that, from the backend, or I have also sent it. So of course it will go to the update and else branch. So I'm using the component for save or update both, right? So anyway, so which is the call we have to choose is employee service update. And this contains what? The original details. I mean, the lifted, got from the backend or the updated details? Updated or original? Updated details. So if I ask you in the jargon of our Hibernate, what is it your front end is going to send to the backend? Yes, please. Transient, persistent, detached, or removed POJO. What are you? Of course, a representation of it. We know that. But representation of which type of POJO? Transient, persistent, detached, or removed? 100% detached. So you just have to reattach it, and it contains updated state already. The front end has updated it. End user has updated it. So thankfully, the JPA repository or the CRUD repository has the method saved, and we'll see the magic. Okay, so anyway, so let us open quickly employee service. There's nothing different. So if you see update, only changes if you want to create a resource, which is the HTTP method we use, post, for updating the full. This is not partial updates. I'm taking the whole employee data and updating it. Okay, for partial updates, patch is the one which is recommended. So anyway, so putting, and this is your request body. So tell me honestly, openly, is the front end part clear? So we just have to manage the backend part. So come to the backend. It's kind of repetitive. You can stop the whatever application and let's write. Oh, this is not the one. Employee controller I wanted to go to. Yeah, so I'll just copy from that. Add employee details because it is so similar. So let's make the changes. Add request handling method to update existing employee details. Create a resource. And the method we are using is put. It is literally create versus update. Save or update. So which will be the mapping you will be using is, which will be the annotation? Put mapping. And I'll say this as update. Employee details, request body. And here, I'll write it for your this thing. E is nothing but the detached POJO containing updated state. So all these things have been done in the front end itself. And here, let me see. Can we use this? Yeah, we can use it. Oh. Do I require anything else? No, I don't require. Okay, finish this much. We'll check. If I make any mistake while talking or something, if I, you tell me. So update employee details, request body, deserialization, everything. Line number 70. No, I'm not yet gone there, Prashant. Where I've discussed only the put mapping and this part. Got it? Okay. Tell me, guys. You tell me. I'm waiting for your response. Have you written this much? Okay. Now, here, earlier one I was calling employee services, add employee details. Okay. So tell me, change or no change? That is where, Prashant, you are making a mistake. But I did not want you to comment. Answer is no change. That's why, Prashant, no changes, no error, absolutely. When you pass to the save method, an instance, now I'll not call it as transient employee, otherwise it will confuse you. It is what is it going to have? ID null or not null? Tell me, guys. In this case, what will be that ID, null or not null? Of course, not null. So what will it take it as? Transient POJO or detached POJO? A detached entity. So here, at the time of automatic dirty checking, here, which query will be fired? Are you getting the feel of such a powerful APIs you have with the CRUD repository Spring Data JPA automatically. I don't even, there is no method such as save or update. Save itself works like save or update, and everything done by the what? Employee ID. So that is why I said no change. But if you want to remember it and, not feeling confused later, you can say here, add or update, so that later you should not have a question mark that what we had done and how it is working and all that. So I'll say this, add or update, and add or update. And here, where is that? Add or update. And in the earlier one, there is a refactor. I forgot to use that option. So, okay, so now let me write 2 lines for that. Otherwise, later, definitely you're going to get confused. I hope not, but in case. So here, CRUD repository method. What method we are using is same. Takes in entity. So T is nothing but the entity. Checks. Who checks? The persistent provider. In short, Hibernate checks. If ID is equal to null, implies new entity, as in transient entity fires, will fire, and what? Insert upon commit. Okay. And if ID is not equal to null, guys, understand me. Null I'm saying because my type of the ID is integer. If you change it to int, it will be an unsaved value as in 0 or non-zero. But like I said, I've given you all the tips. Use it as a reference type only. If it is not equal to null, what does it imply? It is a detached entity containing all the updates and will fire update upon commit. Making sense or not making sense? I'll send you this. I'm not sending it for the code. I'm sending it for the comments. Okay. So this is what we are trying to do. So no new service layer. Only the endpoint I had to change. Why I had to change the endpoint? Why I had to add this? Because frontend is going to give me either via post method for creating a new employee, as in creating a resource or updating. So this I had to write, but I could reuse the existing service layer. Understood or lost? Clear or lost? Tell me others also. Okay, but I'm going to check it. So don't worry about checking ever. Checking it with Postman, not directly with React. Otherwise that confuses. We don't know what is wrong and all that. So I'm just checking here, guys. Go to employee Pojo. And here I'm seeing the toString. Yes, I was looking for this, whether ID is printed or not. Otherwise, how will you know null or not null? So it looks good. Run this application. Always check the console or complete this. Clear the console. Go to Postman. And here, let's do the updates. Okay, so new tab. The URL I'll just copy. Here we'll change the method to put. Change the URL. There's no path variable / employees and all that. And then we have to give the body here. And here I don't want to really type things. Oh, this was I have something here, response. I don't have the response. Anyway, I can always run this. Just give a second. I want to suppose get this. So here, I hope I'm not going too fast. Postman testing, everyone knows, so I'm not giving commentary all the time. I just fired a get query. Suppose I want to change the Ketan's detail that way. Okay, so coming to put raw JSON. And here, so let's say name I'm not changing. Maybe we are changing his location we are changing to Something else. Suppose we are having some whatever billing or marketing. I'm not checking whether the location and department. So I have a question for you. Put, I hope you have changed it to put. I hope the URL is correct, or rather you have understood. So should I send ID or should I not? Send or skip? Should I be sending this ID as a JSON data? It is called as payload. You know the term payload? Payload is that JSON data which you are sending from the front end to back end. So should this payload contain it 100%? If you remove it, tell me what will happen. Insertion of a new record. Absolutely correct. And I don't have any unique constraints currently. So it will just add a insert a duplicate record. But suppose in your database, you have a unique name constraint, unique constraint for name, you'll definitely get an exception. So don't make a mistake. Anyway, so we have done this. Just check the, not this. Open the database and just see the latest thing. So Ketan's this. Okay, these are the Ketan's original details. Just test it out, guys. And you can check status 200. Okay, you can see all that. And it is showing, reflecting the changes here. But unless until you see the database, you can't really say anything. And as you can see, yes, the details are updated. Is the update working or not working? Test it out. It's working fine. Everyone, I want more responses to continue. Got this? Okay. So now stop whatever you are doing and let me ask you a question. When you say put, is it a complete update or partial update? Complete or partial? It's a complete update. Okay. So now observe things. Don't do things. Okay. Just give me a chance to explain. So suppose I don't add a name. Okay. And delete this. Oh, sorry. I was wondering why it is not working. I was working in a response. Stupid mistake. So yeah. So here I'm just removed the name and we are going to fire this query again. Okay. So I want to make you, because people, you are not answering put versus patch and all that. So anyone wants to tell me exception or no exception. Okay. What will happen? Forget that. What will happen? Will updation take place? Okay. If you want, you can change it. Okay. I don't have this. Say 1, 2, 3. I mean, this is stupid, but still the point is, will the updations take place? Answer is yes. Somebody's answered this, Yogesh, very right. It is not a partial update. So the moment you don't send a null or a location, sends, okay, you can play with it once you understand the point. So updates will happen, but now the name and the location will be null. So guys, you will say, why you are bothering us so much? You just got 4 columns. Classroom example. What if you got 40 columns, 40 state, and you just want to change 2 out of 40? So tell me, see, with the front end, it becomes very easy. But for testing and all, would you prefer sending only those 2 fields which are getting changed, or all 40? I mean, 38 unchanged plus 242 changed. Of course, the changed ones. Understanding or not understanding the statement? Anyway, send it and you tell me what happened. 100%. This is what I meant by, complete update. So if you want to enjoy partial update, which method should you use? Put or patch? Patch, but that is a different discussion all over. And I've not added that patch request in the front end. So I mean, like it takes more time. You got the meaning? And like I said, don't go by the whatever your postman says. You will see actually location name. 100% clear? Put versus patch. Okay, patch demo I have not shown you. I'm not even sure whether we'll get time, but I'll arrange a ready-made demo in case I can't create. Yes or no? Partial versus complete updates. Clear? This is what is very much required knowledge. So right now I don't want to have such a corrupted record. So update it directly. So update what? update employees, set DPD, sorry, and location. There. So you're back to normal data. And I think we are done it with this. So update and all is working fine. And now let us connect it to your front end and check it. So let's start from the scratch. So we'll see all the, list of employees. I did not have that employees thing. And the name was null. Correct. The name I forgot to update it. To change the name also. I don't know whether it's already there or not. Let's refresh it. So, and now you can say update. Okay, name I'm not changing. To be this, sending him to a billing department, maybe accounts department, anything. And suppose accounts is in Mumbai. Here, it is reflecting the changes here. Check it in the, look at this. Anyway, name is only changed. I thought so changes are getting place here properly. I'll wait here till you confirm. Is working fine? Yeah, name was not updated. I got it, guys. Okay, so this finishes simple, straightforward CRUD. And this is what I'll be showing you in a front end. But in backend, since Java is our forte, I mean, Java is what I want to expand, or backend I want to expand, I want to show you a lot of things. But is everyone's front end and a backend, all CRUD application, up and running fine, working fine? Okay, so what I'll do is, front end was already sent. So I'll just make a zip of this last thing. So that anyway, we are approaching a break here. Half an hour break today, right? Oh, I have not mentioned this. Anyway, I hope you had a breakfast and all. Since this is my fault. I could not join in time. But today you're going to get a lesser break. We've got too many things to manage. So here, don't worry about it. We have still 10 minutes before the break. Add to archive. And here, day 19 employee backend. Yeah, I've sent you the entire backend developed so far. So again, so this is what we have finished so far. Any questions? So since there are no, I mean, you can ask questions anytime in between also. So now I want to show you. Okay, I will swap the sequence because it can before should I or should I not? I'm just thinking. Give me a minute. No, we can. I think we can do it in a proper manner. So listen to the statement I'm making. You can stop the backend since we are discussing something. Close everything and open the employee controller. I have a question. When you say REST controller, everyone knows it is a combination of two annotations, at controller class level and implicitly added at response body annotation on the return values of each request handling method. Okay, so I have a question for you. When you say at response body, which of the following you are setting? See, recall the HTTP response packet structure. I'll repeat my question. I've yet to give you the options. I said, whenever there is a at response body, implicit annotation, which part of the response packet we are setting? Your choices are status code, option 1, headers, option 2, or the body of the response, option 3, none of above. It's an easy one. It's a, like what you say, self-explanatory. Of course, you are setting a response body. So for the CRUD type of functionality, this is all fine. Our integration is done. Now I'm making you again project ready kind of a thing. That is what all things which appeals, or whenever you join industries and all, people don't just stop at that. People write so many more things. So here the best considered practices, better design practices. Don't just send the response body, but is there any way I can send or I can control all the parts of response packet, including status code, headers if required, and response body? Answer is yes. And that is what we are learning by using a class called as response entity. Okay, so open, there are so many Java docs you have. So open Spring Framework Java docs. See, I'll tell you what all I have kept it open, Spring Boot, because when I talk about REST templates and all, you'll require that. This is your Spring Data JPA and one is Spring Framework. So open Spring Framework and search for response entity class. You will see it here. Or otherwise, if you can't find it, this is not nothing about Spring Boot. Whatever is about Spring Boot is only convention or easy automatic configuration. The concepts are all from Spring Framework. By the way, since you can stop that. So otherwise, sometimes it becomes too slow. You can stop the React app for a little while. Okay, so click on response entity and let's start looking at it. First is the packaging, OS, HTTP. So it is the response packet. Okay, what is response entity? It is nothing but a class which represents the entire response packet. So okay, what is it? Generic or non-generic class? Generic class. And what is that T representing? Is it representing status code, header, or a body content type? Body type. So in our case, I'll ask you a precise question. So for example, we are going to change this to response entity. What will be the type T here? T will be replaced by what? Line number 57. Employee. Absolutely correct. What will be T replaced by here? Line number 33, please. My case. Type T will be replaced by what? List of employees. That's it. Okay, nothing confused. I mean, nothing complex really. So coming back to the point, read the description. Extension of HTTP entity. HTTP entity is the superclass, but that doesn't have the HTTP status code. Okay, so it is basically going to represent all three parts: status code, header, and the body content. So can you forget REST template, because we'll come to the REST template in the second half, but can you add it in the controller as in REST controller methods? Answer is yes. So they have given you example, but I would rather show you directly. So there are different ways. So one is the constructor way. So click on constructor and I'll start asking you questions. If you use this constructor, which part of the response packet are you sending? It's a dumb question, easy question. Status code, header, or the body content? Status code. Everyone understands it? Click on HTTP status and it is nothing but our famous enum containing all the HTTP status code. Where series, 100 series, 200 series and all that. So, so look for 200, all okay. Look for 400, bad request, the conversion. Client sent you something in the request, conversion failed. Typically string to date conversion, or 404, or when I take you to Spring Security, you will have unauthorized, forbidden, etc. Authentication related. So in short, this is your HTTP status. What is it? Class, interface, or enum? It's an enum. You got that? But I don't want it. I want my minimum thing is, if you're not setting the header, at least body content and the status code. So if you want all, listen to this. If you want to set the body content, multiple response headers represented by the map and HTTP status, this is the one. But if you just want to convey the body content and HTTP status code. This is the constructor to use. Got this? So if you use this constructor, what are the two arguments you are looking at? It's a body content T and HTTP status code as per your requirement. You got this? Understood the constructor? Okay, so what is it you are adding here? Okay, at nullable means body can be null, but we will not give any time, practically speaking, null body. So please let me know which are the things you are injecting or rather adding in the response packet. Everyone should know. Status code, headers, body content, all of above, either of above, the status code and the body content. So how about doing this? So here, I'll just put it in the sequence. So anytime you revise it in the labs, you should have it. So here, standard design practice for backend. Do not, guys, add all these things in your projects. If you take a Java as a backend, of course, do not directly send the response body. Instead, wrap it in response entity. So what is it we are talking about is OS HTTP, that's a package. And the name of the class I showed you was response entity. O.s.this. And here it's a generic class. And one of the constructors which we are using here is the one which will send the body and the status code. So one of the constructors, there are overloaded constructors. So T, body content, response body content, and there is a enum HTTP status. That is your status code. Okay, so this is what we are using. So let's do this. You're not going to see any impact in the front end, but this is all the standard designing practices. So let us change this. So here, what will be the return type now? The return type will be response entity wrapping this. So it's time to recall your generics. Let's see whether you remember any of the generics. So tell me, when I say question mark, yeah, what does it indicate? I am talking about core Java generics, Java generics. What is question mark represented in representing in generics? We'll finish it and I'll give you a break. Wildcard. Can it be replaced by any type such as list of employees or a string or what is it called? Employee? Answer is yes. It is a common superclass. It is equivalent to your object inheritance. Basically, it is brought in for inheritance. So just keep it simple. Response entity. And here, now what you want to do? You want to create new response entity. Okay. So response entity. Choose the one which we discussed with the body content and the status. You know, Java 8 compiler onwards, it can reduce the type. So diamond operator. And here, the first one is, the first one is body content. So as it is. And here, I want to send a status all okay in case I reach here. Or, yeah, that is fine. So there is a HTTP status enum dot okay. Guys, depending on your project needs and the way you are designing your front end, you can keep checking. You can change different status codes and all that. So I'll send you this modified one. So what will be the deduce type here of a generic? Just have to take a cursor here. This will be replaced by list of employee. So adding a question mark makes it so easy. That way. You got it? You finished it? Okay. I'll just do one more thing and we'll stop here. I mean, the test and stop here. I'll leave the testing to you. Go to, you can change it. You are going to change it for all the methods, but I want to do something specifically. Listen to the question correctly. When I say, see this, you remember we did it for updating the existing record. So if you connect it with React Frontend, of course, in React, we are printing the employee list. So there is zero probability, zero chance that user will give me a wrong one. Okay. But with Postman, I can check my APIs inside out. So here I want to do this. In case this is going to be tested with Postman, because React, there's no chance I can change it. Of course, from the playing with the URL, I can change it, but I'm not going there. So coming back to the point here, if the, listen to the statement I'm making. If it is a valid employee ID, do I want to send the resource as it is, or do you want to wrap it in the response entity? Wrap it in the response entity and send back. But if it is a error, exception, employee not found, or what was that? Resource not found exception. What is it I want to do is, I want to send the error message and the error code, HTTP status code 404. Understood or not understood? Understood the requirement? Because if the requirement is not clear, I'm not writing it down. I'll repeat it anyway because I did not get any response from you. I said, let's see, valid employee ID. What should be the return type? Start working on it, so that looking at time. So just replace it by response entity and make it question mark so I can replace it anyhow. So tell me, what will be this question mark replaced by in case of valid employee ID? You got it? Employee, very right. And what will be the status code you will send that in that case? Okay, all okay, 200 exactly. So response status, I mean HTTP status dot okay. But what if the employee ID is not found, which is impossible from React Frontend? So I'll ask you to test it from Postman. So in that case, what is it I want to send? Can I send the employee? Because I don't have an employee. How can you? So we will replace it by string, some error message, that employee not found or some such thing, that error message, exception message. And what will be the error code? I'm so sorry. What will be the status code? 200 or 404? Yes. So some things are reaching you. Great. So now I have not yet covered global exception handling. So let us break it into steps, guys. And here invoke service layer method. But since I've not shown you the what is it called? Centralized exception handling. Do fast, catch all exceptions are runtime exceptions. Okay. Always do a little bit of debugging. Don't assume things ever. Error in get employee details. Otherwise, you will be assuming something and something else might be wrong, such as illegal argument exception. So anyone wants to tell me which is the exception you will get here? We have been building something since morning. Which is the exception which will come here? Built-in exception or a custom exception? B or C? A custom exception. Which custom exception? If you have forgotten, this is never about a memory test. Take a look. Fetch employee details. Which is the exception we are throwing here? Our own resource not found exception. Okay. So I'm just giving you the better and better way of designing the APIs, writing the REST APIs. So this should be that resource not found. So in this case, here return new response entity and choose the body and the status. You don't have to let the compiler figure out using diamond. And here I'll give a this thing. First is the body, right? So I'll simply say e.get message. You remember we have written that message, something invalid and all that. And the error code set it as HTTP status code not found, which is your 404. You'll see 404 is not found. Okay, so this takes care of your error branch. And here, this part you already know. So just copy it, looking at the time already derailed. So in case of success, let me return it as return new response entity. And here is the body content. And then it's the HTTP status. This is your revision of, generics also. And you will understand why we were talking about that question mark in so much detail. HTTP status dot. Let me check whether I've done it and then I'll test. So you must have realized why I use question mark. Can question mark be replaced by employee? Yes, it's a wildcard, can be substituted by anything. And can it be replaced by string? Yes, again. So this diamond, what is it called? Deduced type. Here is employee. Here deduced type is string. And because employee and string are no way connected and all that, I just put it as a question mark. Let me give you this. Anyway, we are stopping. I'm going to make a zip and send you before the break. Okay, so this is it. So the success part, I can take it with the React frontend. The wrong part, I cannot really test it. So that is where the Postman comes in. Understood something? Are you ready to test? Can we test? Okay, so start the backend. Go to the Postman client. Do I have this with a 2? Yes, I have. So I'm just running the earlier. Later you create a collection for your project. Collection in the Postman, I'm saying. So the testing scripts will be all ready. I'm sending it here. As you can see, response entity does not. Here the status code we have now supplied HTTP. You can play with it. Something, change it and it will definitely get reflected. Now send something which doesn't exist and observe and conclude. So tell me, is it sending that stack trace all over? Absolutely not. That we will later even further. What is the status code? So who had generated the status code? Programmer or Spring Boot? P or S? Programmer. You saw her just doing that. And this is that error message. You remember from that resource not found. So I'm just showing you a demo which has the whole thing. But before I stop for a break, let me just confirm once. Otherwise, we spoil something, which is the integration part. I shouldn't have stopped it. I'm just taking this and so that whenever we make the changes, you should still see that whether that front end is working fine. So let me say update. Okay. And let's see this. So RIA 123, the labeling looks fine. And here, I'm not sure. I'm totally not sure. I am just playing with it. Okay, so changes are not done. Fine. And if you see the backend, so it has not gone. The ID I'm not taking from this URL at all. Anyway, doesn't matter. So as long as you are clear that resource not found exception was thrown as the tested with the Postman and giving you the error messages. So I'm making a zip and stopping immediately. Or not immediately, sorry, one more minute and then immediately. Okay, so has everyone tested it? Has at least somebody tested it? I don't know whether everybody or not. Some of you at least tested. Okay, so extra 1 minute to show you installation of Lombok library. So that, next time you write a Pojo, you don't have to write so much of a boilerplate code. Okay, so come to this project. You can stop this. And here, open the employee Pojo, please. All these are project tips. If you check the contents, I don't think they have mentioned that Lombok at all. But still, you will see any code using Lombok library, so you should know all about it. So please open the base entity first. And what is it we have? So there is no default constructor, but if you want, there's no, okay, let me say this slowly. open the base entity class. And what is it I don't want to write any longer? Getters and setters. Comment it. Done. And is there an annotation from the Lombok which will give me those getters and setters? Answer is yes. And that is your, there are so many annotations. There is a one called as getter itself. @getter, @setter. Or there is a combination of both of them plus toString plus hash code and equals with @data. So I'm just showing you various annotations. And if you see the import list, they are all coming from Lombok library. Added @getter, @setter. Okay. Now the next thing. But open some code. Let's say a service layer, any code. And here, just try to, I need some employee. Okay, I'll show you. So here, you can also do it. Add or update employee details. And here you say employee dot get ID. Is it showing you the get ID method or not? I said, pick up, I'll go slow. Open the service layer. Open that add or update employee details method and simply say employee.getID. Showing you the method or not? Just say employee.getID. Is it working or not working? Is what I'm asking you. It is working, showing you? It should not. It should not is the correct answer. Unless until somebody has already installed the Lombok library. Guys, say emp.getID and I'm telling you, if you have done the Lombok library installation all yourself, of course it will show you. In short, what is the observation? Okay, great. We added so-called getters, setters, but I'm not getting it. That is because just adding the annotations and adding a Lombok jar is not sufficient. You have to install the Lombok library. How to? In the next minute. And later you can uncomment and check. But let us add those annotations in the employee Pojo also. Open employee.java, please. And comment. I'm saying don't get rid of it. Just comment, okay? Comment all of this. Or I'll say this, okay. Getters, setters is fine. This constructor you keep. Otherwise, it will take the ID-based constructor. I'll just do this. Comment the no args constructor, default constructor. Comment all the getters and setters. So can you see how less you are writing? I'll tell you this. There is another way required argument constructor, but currently keeping it simple. So what are the only things you will end up writing here? This data members and in some case, some specific parameterized constructor. But this is not sufficient. When you add a parameterized constructor, default constructor is taken away. So now the annotation is @no args constructor. So this will give you the default constructor which we commented. And if you say simply that @data, you can just read getters for all fields, a useful toString, hash code equals for this, and setters also for non-final fields. So one annotation does the job. Okay. So no args constructor, later you can practice. No args is your default constructor naturally. And @data is giving you warning because you have not placed it on the superclass. So currently ignore the warning. So have you commented, please, the argumentless constructor? Only thing I have kept for a reason is the parameterized constructor because that is going to be, is it going to be used? Just give me a second. Are we using it anywhere? I don't think so actually. Okay, get rid of this also. Just give me a second. I'm just checking. Are we using it explicitly anywhere? No. So, okay. So I can give you more. Sorry, my mistake. I mean, I thought we were using it. And there is another constructor called as all args constructor. Okay. So this, as the name suggests, generates all argument constructor requires one argument for every field. In short, it is generated. added the annotations, guys, but they are not yet functional. Functional means they are not yet working. Working means, okay, annotation wise, they won't give you any error. But try the same thing again here. Just write some code. Employee E is equal to new employee. And I am getting it because I have already installed the Lombok library. But you tell me whether you are getting this parameterized constructor or not. Quick question, quick answer. You won't be getting. If you are getting, that means you have somewhere installed the Lombok library. Okay, so definitely you will not get. So in 1 minute, have you done the changes? Have you added the annotations, Lombok annotations over the Pojo classes? Okay, so now exit. Okay, 1 minute step. I'm showing you how to what? Install a Lombok library. Somewhere in earlier training in other batch, you know, some of them, one or two, very, very less out of 200, they were not getting the annotations even after installation. So if that happens to you, unfortunately, you know, you can comment those annotations and go ahead with setter getter. But if you follow the steps, there's hardly anything which can go wrong. Okay, so close the ID. Now you go to your repo, Maven repository. So because that is where your Lombok jar is. So go to your home directory, users.m2 repository. Go to Maven home. Maven home is nothing but your home directory under that .m2 folder. .m2 is the Maven home. And below that you have a repo folder, repository. Reach here. Now it's got a quite nested path. So simply here search for Lombok. Simply look for Lombok. And it will take you to org project Lombok. You can say open the folder location. Are you in? If you don't want to search it, I'll give you the path. org project Lombok. Reached here. Go to this thing. You may not be having all these folders, but I've been doing it for long time. So go to the latest one. Is it also showing you 1.18.22? Forget others. This has been earlier stuff. Showing you or not showing you? Let me see your answer. Showing you. Yes, great. So we are on the same page. Open that. And can you see the second entry, Lombok 1.18.22 executable jar? Okay, double click on this. And this should show you the Lombok project Lombok installer. Opening or not opening? Open the installer. Double click on that jar. It should open. So guys, let me tell you, I'm using throughout the STS ID, but you can have IntelliJ or whatever. So Lombok can update your Eclipse or later IntelliJ or whatever to fully support all the Lombok features. So tell me, wherever is your STS installed, is it showing you that checkbox? Is your STS Spring Tool Suite IDE showing or not showing? If you are saying, Prashant, no, then you will have to put it in the path and all. Cannot find any ID. So this can be the problem because it is maybe not in the path. So those people continue to use setters and getters. But it generally reflects entire path. Okay. So if you are getting the error, I'm not discussing Lombok because I have already given you the alternative. Use getters and setters. But those who are finding STS 3.9.16, forget this thing. Select the checkbox. I'm talking to only those who it is finding. For those who it is not working, that means your ID or whatever is not under the path. So you'll have to figure it out in the lab session. In the lab session, I'll have a look at it. Okay, so select it. And there's a button here, install/update. Done. So is it saying install successful quickly? For those who had selected the checkboxes and all that. Okay. So, and then you can say quit installer. I hope you have stopped the STS ID. You should not do it when the STS is up and running. Done? Quit the installer. Open STS again. Go to that service. Try this out. I'm giving you a break already. I was supposed to give you a little earlier. And tell me, is the getter now working? Are you seeing that all as constructor and all that? You're not going to require it. I'm just saying whether the Lombok library is working or not. Working, yes, very good. So this is just a configuration. Just a Lombok library has to be installed. And there is an excellent article. Beldung is the guy I follow throughout for Spring. So I'll show you. I'm sharing you the link. And Lombok. Setting up. Okay, he's talking about IntelliJ also. And here, yeah. So I'm sending you the link. For those, it did not work. So figure it out, try to figure it out. Worst case, I'm telling you this thing. I've sent you the article link. Beldung is the guy, he's the authority with, you know, Spring security. In general, Spring related stuff. He's authority. You can start following him all throughout. Anyway, so I've given you the link also. Figure it out. And we are resuming in half an hour's time. So I'll just make a final zip. I don't know whether. Guys, in your service, comment all that. Please. You don't require all of it. This was just for checking whether the Lombok library is working at all. Okay. So let me create a zip and send you. It will be good if it works for you. Because, you know, your code will reduce. Boilerplate code, repetitive code, wherever you have getters, setters, default constructor, you have a couple of annotations. For how many it worked? Let me see before we stop for a break, half an hour break. 3, just 3. Okay, rest of 4. Some of you are saying yes or no. Okay, try it out, guys, in the lab session. Otherwise, we'll check if it is fixable. Otherwise, it's not a major stuff. It is just one of the ways to reduce boilerplate code. So when we come back in half an hour's time, continue coding with me. All you will have to is uncomment those getters, setters, and the constructor, and the portals have been working all earlier. Not showing in the ID, so maybe some refresh. This one, Abhijit, you can rebuild the project. Maven force update. Okay, try that out. Rebuild the project and this because it says in one of this. I have given you the article. Why don't you refer to that Beldung article and his suggested lot of tips. So guys, this is where we are stopping. So 11:43. So 12:15, half an hour. We will resume at 12:15. If it works, fine. Otherwise, this thing, what do you say? Otherwise, you can continue without it. Okay, people are giving you hints, location and all. So by default, Girish, you know, the location should be reflected from your ID, but like whatever you are specifying is good enough. That will be all. See you in half an hour.